guys, my name's Lydia and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about my goals for 2022. These are mostly reading based and there are also a few that are YouTube based because I really want to try and grow my booktube. I really enjoyed doing it since I started in August, I think, but I have fallen off the wagon a bit. I think throughout November and December I very rarely posted. I am trying to get back to doing like weekly vlogs, or at least like one vlog a month, and more videos. And I've made a list of content that I want to create, and there's quite a bit there. So I'm excited for the year to come, and I really hope I'm going to stick to it. I have terrible sticking power, so we'll see. So this is my book journal, which I filled out quite a lot of the pages, and 2 of them are my goals for 2022. So, without further ado, the first goal I've created is to put less pressure on reading. So in 2021, I read 365 books. 368 I think in the end, because I set a goal of 100, smashed it, moved it to 200, smashed that, moved it to 300, and then I realised I still had like 2 months left in the year. So I changed it to 365, and that's a ridiculous goal. I know there are people out there who read like 700 books a year. That's not me. And I ended up reading a lot of books I didn't enjoy just because they were short to try and get to that goal. Like the Darren Shan saga, I think I gave all the books 2 stars, but I kept reading them because they were like 2 hours on audio, so I smashed them out. But I didn't enjoy them. So what's the point? So I want to put less pressure on reading. I want to have lower goals. I want to just read more that I enjoy. So I hope I'll be able to do that this year and just take my foot off the pedal a bit reading wise, and maybe put it down a bit more YouTube wise. My next goal is to request fewer NetGALLEY arcs. I'm terrible. I scroll through NetGALLEY like 5 times a week and I request all sorts of books that sound good, and then I never get around to reading them. So I think I have 23 books that I need to read and review on NetGALLEY, and I need to stop requesting them because I never get around to them, because e-books are not my favourite way to read. So unless it's a book I'm really, really excited for, I need to stop requesting. Which leads us into my third goal, which is to keep on top of my NetGALLEY books. I need to make a resolution that if I request a book on NetGALLEY and I get approved for it, I need to read and review it within a week. I need to set myself a time frame because otherwise I never do it. And I've got books on my old NetGALLEY account, because I had to start a new one, that have been there for like 3 years. It's not good. So yeah, keep on top of my NetGALLEY books, read them in a timely way, review them, get them off, and like hand in hand with that I just need to get through my NetGALLEY backlist as well. There are some books that I'm not that excited for anymore, or I don't really know why I requested them. So that's difficult because then I'm putting pressure on myself to read books I don't want to read. So it kind of goes against my first goal. Some things you just gotta do. And it's my own fault that I have all these books on my TBR. I need to get them off. Goal number 4 is to read more queer books. I love reading queer books. I am queer. And I read a lot in 2021, but proportionally to how much I read in total, it's not that much. So there were 119 queer books that I read last year, but out of 368 total, that's not even a third. And that's not good enough. I want to read way more queer books than that. I want to surround myself with queer stories. There are so many out there, but I put them off because maybe I'm intimidated, or I don't want to read something I think I'll enjoy. I don't really know what it is. My brain just sort of rebels against reading things I actually want to get to and reads a whole bunch of other shit instead. I definitely want to read more queer books. And similarly, goal number 5 is to read more books by people of colour, because again, I did not do good at that in 2021. I read 93 books by people of colour, and again, 93, that's pretty good, but not out of 368. That's terrible. I want to read way more books by authors of colour. I want to prioritise authors of colour when I'm reading and when I'm choosing TBRs. And I just want to celebrate writers from all over the world. Kind of hand in hand with that, I want to read a lot more that's not from US or UK, because that dominates my reading, and that is very narrow-minded. So then goal 6 is very similar, and that is to try and aim for at least 50% books by diverse authors. So that is queer authors, authors of colour, authors from other countries that aren't UK and US. I especially want to read more books by authors from Africa and Asia, and to just diversify my reading a lot more. I don't want to come to the end of 2022 and find that 2/3 of the books I've read are cis-het white stories. That's not the world, that's not even me, so I need to do better. My next one is a booktube goal, and that is to try and post at least one video per week. That isn't much. There are lots of booktubers who post 2, 3, 5 times a week, but I'm very small. I don't have many subscribers, I don't have much interaction, so there's no point me really burning myself out. But I do want to post at least one video a week, and I want to try and be inventive with my content. I don't want to just be posting one weekly vlog every single week and nothing else, because that's not that interesting. I enjoy filming them, but I don't know how much people enjoy watching them. So one non-vlog video each week. Goal number 8 is to try and finish more series, because I have started so many series and I don't finish them, even when I'm excited for them. It took me forever to finish Jade Legacy, and I'd been so excited for that ever since I finished Jade War, and then I didn't get around to it until literally a few days ago. There are so many series like Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. Loved the first book, haven't read the second. So I will make a list at some point of all the series that I haven't finished that I want to, and probably all the series I have finished, the series I have started and don't want to finish. So I would like to do better at that as well, and probably should read more standalones, because clearly I can't be trusted with series. Goal 9 is quite similar to goal 1, and that is to read more for pleasure. I put a lot of emphasis last year on readathons and reading challenges and reading books to fulfill goals rather than reading books that I wanted to read. So I would be setting TBRs of like 20 books, which means you don't have very much space to mood read, because, you know, if you're reading 30 books a month, but 20 to 25 of them are because of a readathon and you've got to adhere to certain prompts, you're limiting yourself a lot. And I'm terrible for that. I will limit myself an awful lot. So I would like to just take that pressure off and enjoy what I'm going to read and pick up books because they sound good to me. I did this with my recent Waterstones haul. Rather than going in there with a list of books I wanted to get, I went in completely blind and I just scrolled through the shelves. No, I scoured the shelves and found books that sounded good, that looked good, books with interesting covers and cool synopses that I've never heard of before. So I came away with quite a lot of books that I wouldn't have come across ordinarily because no one's talking about them. And I want to do that more this year, and just rather than reading books because everyone's talking about them or because they're on a TBR or a challenge, just read them because I want to read them. Goal 10 is to complete at least one reading challenge, and goal 11 is to complete at least one readathon. So the reading challenges are things like the A to Z challenge and Buzzwordathon and the 50 States challenge, which are the 3 that I have made pages for in my book journal. I always do the A to Z challenge and the 50 States challenge, never completed either of them. I made it to 25 out of the 26 A to Z challenges last year. I just couldn't get Z, and I think I got to like 40 out of the 50 states, but then I sort of stopped trying. I tried really hard at the start to find books from different states, and then after October I just gave up and I was just trying to read short books to get to the goal of 365. That is definitely something I'd like to try and do. It's not the A to Z challenge is quite easy because you're just finding books that fit the alphabet. The States challenge is something that I tend to just find when I'm reading a book already. I don't necessarily know that it's set in Kansas before I start. And the Buzzwordathon is one I've never done before, but this is a challenge to read 12 books that they feature some sort of word in the title. So I know the first one is to read a book that has one of the 5 W's in the title. So that is what, who, where, why and when. And that's quite a nice sort of vague challenge. There's only 12. It's for the whole year. So that should be quite easy to fulfill. And yeah, goal 11, complete at least one readathon. There are several that I want to take part in this year. So we've already started Be Sure-a-thon, which is run by The Wild Sasha. And that is all about Seanan McGuire's Wayward Children series. So it's portal fantasy and things. Obviously the prompts are not like all portal fantasy related. There's just one portal fantasy prompt and a whole bunch of others. So there are 5 books that I'm going to be reading for that challenge. I'm halfway through the first one, so I would definitely like to finish that challenge, and then that's one readathon ticked off my list. I'm also going to be taking part in TBRPG-a-thon by Row this year, well this month. That is I think the 7th to the 13th of January. So that's just a 1-week readathon, so that hopefully should be easily completable. And I think Magical Readathon is going to be happening twice this year. There's also going to be Magical Hopathon in April. I think Spoopathon is probably going to come back. Polathon is going to be happening at some point. So there's all sorts of readathons going on this year, and I just want to complete at least one of them. Ideally, I'd think I'd probably like to complete 3 to 5, because some are only a weekend, some are just a week. There's going to be a lot to choose from. Goal number 12 is to use CAWPILE regularly. So I never used CAWPILE before. I've watched many of G's videos about it and other people talking about it, and it's something I really want to try. I've seen Ro using it, and I want to get more into the stats of my reading, so I want to try and make an effort to get into CAWPILE. Yeah, I just want to take that time to reflect on each book that I read, rather than just giving it some random star rating that's based on nothing but my instant thought after I read it. I want to kind of dig into, you know, the characters and the atmosphere and the writing, the plot, the intrigue, the logic and the enjoyment and everything. So yeah, I would like to make an effort with that. And that also helps take the pressure off reading, because, you know, I'm not rushing straight into another book. I'm taking the time to digest what I've read already and think about it a bit more. Goal number 13 is, I think it's the only one that's out of my control, and that is that I'd like to hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. That is quite ambitious, considering I only have 300 at the moment, and I'm not a very regular poster, although I am going to be trying to change that. But it would be really cool to make it to the end of 2022 and have a whole 1,000 people supporting me. You know, I have other social media like Wattpad and things where I've had an account with 30,000, I've got a current account with 20,000. I'd love to sort of bring some of that success over to YouTube, make more content, have more friends, meet more people. I think it'd be really cool. Goal number 14 is to read more books that are over 500 pages. I have a terrible habit of, when I am looking for something to read, if it's over 500 pages, I will put it away, I'll move on to something else, because I'm intimidated by 500 pages or more. And some of my favourite books have been over 500 pages. And when I read over 110,000 pages last year, I mean, I can do it. I can read a lot of pages. But I got it into my head that, you know, why read a 500-page book if I could read 2 250-page books and get closer to my goal? And that's the sort of thinking I'd like to get out and away from. I'd like to read fewer books, but more long ones. Just sort of get over this mental block I have about books that are so long. I mean, that's not even that long. A lot of fantasy books and sci-fi and YA seem to be over 500 pages these days. I'm always surprised if I find fantasy that's like 450 or below. Goal number 15 is to film at least one vlog per month. So I was doing weekly vlogs and sort of fell out of that habit. And because I want to do at least one video per week that isn't a vlog, I thought I can't really make my goal one vlog per week as well. I just want to enjoy making my vlogs and not put the pressure on it of filming a weekly vlog every single week. Some weeks I don't read so much, or I'm not in the mood. So I'd like to do at least one vlog per month. Maybe it'll be a weekly reading vlog, maybe it'll be a monthly reading vlog. It might be a themed reading vlog like Weekend in Wales was, that sort of thing. Or reading a specific series or something. But I would like to try and do at least one vlog of any kind each month. Goal 16 is another YouTube related one, and that is that I want to watch and interact with more YouTubers. Well, booktubers specifically. So I have like 6 people whose videos I like to watch and I try to interact with, but I'm not great at even interacting with those people. There's like 2 that I interact with on a more regular basis. I mean, mostly just Ro, to be honest. But I want to try and branch out, watch more people's videos, because I've got so many friends who make amazing content and people that I want to befriend. And I would love to make more friends in the community and be able to watch and support their videos and just sort of grow my YouTube experience. Goal number 17 is to try more genres. I'm quite limited. I mean, I'm not in some sense because I do read pretty much anything, but I definitely sort of lean towards certain genres. I seem to read a lot of contemporary, I like a lot of mystery, but I will shy away from things like historical or hard fantasy, high fantasy. So I'd like to try and branch out a bit. I have branched out in 2021 already by reading more middle grade, because I used to think middle grade is for children, why would I read that? And then I read like 20 middle grades in December alone, and I've really enjoyed that. So I've still got quite a few middle grades I'd like to read in 2022, and I want to just branch out and try more genres, just experiment a bit more and have fun with my reading and not limit myself to like 3 genres that I know I enjoy. I'd like to sort of branch out and find new genres that I might enjoy. Goals 18, 19 and 20 are all pretty similar. So they are to read more of my backlist books, to read more of my physical TBR, and to read more of the books that I get in book boxes. So I don't know what my physical TBR is, but it's probably about 400. I have several bookshelves that are stacked with books I haven't read. A lot of my sprayed edge bookshelf is books I haven't read and will forget to read because I only have the edges facing out now, so I don't even know what book is there. I definitely need to make a list. I could probably do a spread in my bullet journal. I could like draw out my bookshelf and say which book is which. But then of course it's going to move every time I add a new sprayed or stenciled edge book. So yeah, I don't know how big my physical TBR is, but it's big. There are books on there that I've had for 5 years or more. I know some of them I definitely asked for as a teenager, and I'm 25 now. I think there are some books from 10 years ago on there. There are definitely some books I asked for when I was 15 or 16. So I either need to go through and read them all, or go through and do a big unhaul of books I know I'm never going to read because it's been that long and I've not picked them up. So yeah, most of my books are backlist books. They are from way before 2021, and I'd like to try and get through them. And as for my BookBox subscription, luckily I'm only subscribed to Illumicrate, but I would like to try and read the books that come in those monthly boxes, because I've been a subscriber for about 2 years now and I haven't read most of the books. I did make a start with this in 2021 and I read some of the books that came in Illumicrate. I remember reading A Discovery of Witches. No, that's not what it's called. Once and Future Witches, and Iron Widow, and A Dark and Hollow Star, and possibly a couple of others. But there are so many more that I have not got round to yet. So I would really like to prioritise reading those books that come in Illumicrate, because what's the point in getting it if I'm not even going to read the books? So we're down to the last 2 goals now, and goal 21 is to put more effort, or take the time to put more effort into my book journal. I've had a book journal every year since 2019 now, and I really want to put effort into it. I always start out with high intentions and like creating a lot of challenges for myself, but I've never really put much effort into making nice spreads. But now I have the supplies, I've got loads of different tapes and pens and all sorts, and I've bought a gorgeous new journal, and I filled out quite a few spreads already. And I'm such a hoe for stats. I love to look back at all the different statistics for my reading and to try and better myself. So I need to make the effort to keep my journal up and keep putting the stats in. So for example, like I have a NETGALLEY accountability shelf. As you can see, of the 24 NETGALLEY, I've read 1. So I'd like to keep up this sort of spread and just having fun with my journaling and being experimental, just making reading fun. Like, I love doing this sort of thing for readathons because it makes it engaging. It makes me want to complete them so I can like colour in the boxes and have succeeded at a readathon. So I'm excited to do a spread for every single readathon that I do in 2022 and just sort of engage more fully in it. So I'm not just making a video TBR or a list TBR, I am actually engaging with it and making a full spread for it. My final goal, goal number 22, quite similar to goal number 14, is to read more intimidating books. As in, not read books that intimidate me more, but to read more of the books that intimidate me, because I have loads of them on my shelf. Things like Prayer of the Orange Tree and A Little Life, and all those big chunky books like Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn series. Things that I've had for ages and I haven't got round to because they're chunky and I'm scared of them. A Prayer of the Orange Tree, I have 2 copies. I've got a signed copy but it's big. It's like 800 pages and it's high fantasy, and those are two different things that intimidate me, so that's a very intimidating book. A Little Life, again, really big. I've heard it's really heavy, something that I've, again, had for over a year and not got round to. So I'd like to try and prioritise at least 3 of those big chunky books. I might do a video of books that intimidate me, and maybe you guys can pick the 3 that I'm going to read this year. I'm sure there'll be more that come out this year that will also intimidate me, but that would be nice to try and get some of those big chonkers off my TBR, even if I end up DNFing them, just to get to them. Speaking of DNFing, that isn't on my goals list, but I would like to DNF more. That's because I end up reading books and powering through them when I'm not enjoying them, and I don't like to to DNF, but I need to. I did DNF quite a bit in 2021. I don't know how many in total, but it's probably about 25, which is a lot higher than a lot of people, but not proportionally that high out of 368. There are lots more that I should have DNF'd, that I wish I had DNF'd, because I just wasted my time. 2022 is the year of enjoying my reading, having fun with my reading, being experimental, and not tying myself to books that I'm not enjoying. So there we have it. Those are my 22 goals for 2022, and I really hope that I stick to them. Most of them are goals that I should be able to accomplish because they're just about me putting my arse in gear. So aside from my YouTube subscriber goal, I think everything is something I should be able to achieve. If you have any similar goals or any goals at all, just let me know down below, because I'd love to know what you are trying to do in 2022. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I will see you in the next one.